Hi everyone, I'm Kerry Kriger, and I'm going to teach you how to play some flute, and specifically I'm going to be talking about breath and tone today, because I've gotten a lot of questions recently about improving breathing and improving your tone. And for lots of other flute info, please go to my website, indianflutemusic.com, sign up for the mailing list, and let's talk about breath. So I'm going to start with some of these questions. What's the best way to get the correct tone and enunciation on a Bansuri? It's important to have good tone on a Bansuri. If you can play with a good tone, then your music is going to sound really good, just for starters, even if you don't know much about melody. So the first thing is put the hole halfway down your bottom lip, and then when you blow over the top of the hole, kind of so your breath goes about half into the hole and half over top of it. And you practice that a lot. Specifically, you should get a tambora, which is the sound that you hear in the background, and there are plenty of apps that can get you a tambora sound, and you set it so that the pitch is at your saw, 3 holes down, and blow saw for as long as you can, and focus on breath control and getting a really nice sound and getting your pitch correct. And the more that you practice with the tambora, the more you will be hearing, even if it's subconsciously, the sounds of the tambora, and your tone will begin to match it, and any of your bad sounds will start to go away with practice. So the key is just practicing a lot and taking some time to just blow some long tones. Sa. It's a good practice to start your practice when you sit down to play flute. Make it the first thing that you do, that you play tones like that for 10 minutes and just play them as long as you can hold them and make them sound good. Okay, how to get a cleaner sound in the low and high notes. If you want a cleaner sound in the low and the high notes, then you spend more time practicing the low and the high notes. When you blow into a flute and you move up the scale, the higher you go, the sharper your breath has to be. So you're actually blowing a little bit harder every time you move up a note. And as you practice it enough, what's going to happen is that your mind and your mouth will both start to understand how hard you're supposed to be blowing for each note. So when you practice low notes a lot or high notes a lot, you're training your mind and your mouth to be able to hit the note perfectly. To get better high notes, and high notes are always difficult for beginners and for everybody. You just have to start practicing in the high notes, and you can try long tones up high as well. I've been told by my teacher that I blow too much. I am too open and too loud. How do I get sweet, rounded tones and learn to play softly? That's what someone writes in. By blowing too much, I haven't heard the person play, but what happens when some people play flute is that they have a very airy sound. When they're blowing, there's a lot of just air missing the flute sounds, and it doesn't sound good. So probably what's happening is you're blowing too hard. You may not have your mouth in the best spot. And I would try blowing softer and just concentrating on getting a perfect tone without all that excess air. Next question, breath control. Someone wants to know about breath control. And one important thing when you're playing is to be able to control your volume, especially if you're playing a long note and you want it to fade out. It sounds nice to fade out so that it's not just going and then stops out of nowhere. In Indian music, everything should be nice and smooth. So you can practice when you play a note, make it fade down in volume into nothingness. You can also try fading in. Someone says, how do you get that wavy sound from the flute? At the start of this video, I was playing Darbari, one of my favorite ragas, and what the person may be referring to is Underlain, which is a wavy sound, and Darbari in particular uses a lot of Underlain on the komal da and the komal ga, and you can get that in a few ways. So you can move your finger and change the amount of air that can come out of there, and therefore the pitch on your komal notes. And you can practice changing the flow of air through your mouth. Just practice expanding your mouth a little bit and blowing harder, softer while you're blowing one note, and just experiment with what happens with that. But definitely if you're playing a big Underlain like in Darbari, you're going to have to use your fingers some. And you can also roll the flute a little like that, because as it goes this way, you'll get a slightly higher sound. And if you go this way, it'll get deeper. Now, that being said, certainly for beginners, I don't think you should be worrying too much about wavy sounds or anything other than having a nice, beautiful tone playing at one pitch. You don't need lots of vibrato or flutter like silver flutists would play. Just try to blow a nice, solid tone. Someone wanted to know about blowing techniques, and I don't know specifically what that meant, but one thing I have not discussed is when you're playing jala, which is staccato, you use your tongue, and 3 primary ways of tonguing are to go 2 2 2 2, make that sound like 2 2 2, and that's what you do. Or you could go coo coo coo. Or what I do all the time when I'm going fast is tuku 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 tuku. Tuku tuku tu. Next question. Sometimes the flute sound is so smooth I can practice for hours. Sounds good. On some days at Pa, I don't get the sound. Some days your hand is going to be more tired. That could be it. But it sounds like you still haven't built up your right hand muscles, which you need to play Pa, which is 6 holes down. So I suggest practicing more with Pa, and if your hand is tired, just rest. Maybe, take a day off if you want, or just practice until you can't play Pa, and then you can practice long tones at higher notes that don't use Pa. So there's still a way to practice even if your hand is temporarily tired, but the more you practice, then the stronger your right hand will be, and playing Pa will not be a problem. Another thing you can do is play on a smaller flute. Smaller flutes have less stretch between the fingers, and less stretch means your hand won't get so tired. And the final question. My biggest issue is that I don't have much air to blow with. I would like to know if there are any ways to practice breath, making the breath stronger. It takes a lot of air to play a flute, and one thing you'll eventually do is figure out when the best time to take a breath is between phrases, so that you have the ability to breathe a lot more often. Some other things you can do are sit straight. If you're down like this, then your stomach's going to get contracted, so sit straight is a good thing, and work on your posture. Don't play immediately after you eat. That may help. Don't play after you eat. Exercise more. In general, the stronger your lungs are, the better off you're going to be for every aspect of your flute playing, your exercise, and your life in general. So get out and get some exercise so that your lungs are strong from that. And then separately play more often. Just like everything, most problems are solved by practicing all the time. And your breath will get stronger, your lungs will get stronger from playing all the time. All right, that's it. So I'll leave you with some more Darbari, and go check out IndianFluteMusic.com. If you want to take your playing to the next level, talk to me, and I can give private lessons over Skype or in person.